Yes, here we go. We got a chiropractor from England who thinks he can ride a bull. Everybody give it up for Dr. Lindsay. Okay, Bull, I'm a chiropractor. I work with innate. You and I speak on a spiritual plane. We'll be good to one another. You got this, Paul. You can adjust anything. You are innate.
Deacanator. Riding line. Whoa, get out of there. Get out.
Hello, it's Paul at Instantchiro, and today I'm talking to Dr. T Long and Dr. T Long.
We did this before, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Except
sir.
you were sat here in Idaho, Twin Falls, Idaho.
Yep.
And I was sat in Oregon, and I made a mistake. It didn't record, and it was one of the best interviews I ever did. So I've actually travelled down here, thanks to their request, to see them at the rodeo, fixing people, and I've put some footage over the top. And we're going to talk about things we talked about last time, and about rodeo, and about being in practice. But first of all, a little bit about these guys. So if you tell the camera a little bit about where you studied and how long you've been graduated.
Okay. So we did our schooling at Utah State, then at the local college here in Idaho, College of Southern Idaho. Then we went to the University of Western States for 3 years for chiropractic. So we graduated back in December, and we've opened a practice here in Idaho since March.
Yeah, we opened up in March.
And that's been our real focus, really, because we talked before about how your dad ran the practice, and we already covered all this, but we're going to be okay. Your dad ran the practice, and in fact, your dad's friend was here.
Yeah, Dr.
You're on
Bartle.
the same booth.
Yep.
You're on the booth that you used to watch when you were 6 years old. Here.
Yeah, actually, we used to sit like 4 rows up from where we are right now. We used to watch our dad just fixing up. Our tent's literally just like 10 feet right over here.
I'll cut to the tent because it's really good. And now you told me a story as well about the days before the EMTs were here.
Oh yeah. So I think we were like 5, 6.
Something like
we used our dad had his old Honda. It's a little red Honda they drove around, and our mom had his old van. But we had a bull rider. He went down, and the bull's coming up, and it split his head open, and there's no EMT or any of the sports medicine people like they have now. So I just remember they had him all bandaged up. He kind of looked like a mummy. There's blood everywhere, and we're falling behind my dad in the van. My mom's booking.
Yeah, honestly, like the setup now is absolutely wonderful. Like they have the hospital that's over here and they help and stuff. So we don't have experiences like that.
Takes
luckily,
a lot of pressure off us. That's for sure.
But we did have one today, didn't we? We had What happened there?
There's a dislocated shoulder. There's a bull rider. He was riding. As he was riding, he felt his shoulder dislocate.
So he just bailed.
So he just bailed. He comes out. I felt it pop out, and me and Tyler, yeah, right. So, anyways, it took like 5 minutes, but we took his shirt off, took his hat off, took his brace. He had a giant brace because it's like the 4th time that's happened. Pulled it off, and it literally just hang in there. So, luckily, Morgan's like, I got this one, guys. Don't worry, and just jumped in and took care of it. But Morgan's our dad's friend.
Where's he from? Is it Teton? Is it Teton?
Yeah, he's from Driggs, Idaho. It's over by Teton. It's just like right at the foothills of the Teton Mountains.
And what's his name in case somebody wants to go and look him up?
Morgan Barkdale.
Yeah.
Dr. Morgan Barkdale.
And he's old school. I came with a camera and I could tell he was like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's worked on a lot of cowboys.
Yes.
You're not wearing a cowboy hat, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
And now your guys, you've just set up recently, and yours is called Long Legacy Chiropractic, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Why is it called that?
So originally our plan was to go into practice with our dad. So our dad was a chiropractor here in the Magic Valley, or Twin Falls. And so that obviously didn't happen. Our dad actually passed away back in 2012, but we still wanted to have him be a part of our business and a part of our lives and everything like that. So it was kind of how we paid like a homage to him. And we still wanted to be a part of our practice. So we were talking with our stepdad one day, and our mom as well, and he kind of threw out the idea of Long Legacy Chiropractic, and we thought that was really cool. So it stuck, and we ran with it, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And it's helped us remember. It's set that standard kind of high. It's kind of it's a little intimidating jumping into a practice when you are the standard. People come in, you're like the first doctor they've run into in your particular practice. But since our dad's been in the area and practiced for a long time, that bar's already been set. So we
A little intimidating.
A little intimidating, yeah.
And we talked about the last time we did this. We talked about I set up straight for myself when our other cameraman here was 1 or 2 years old. 1 year old. He was 1 year old. My son there. And I set up by myself straight out of clinic, out of college as well. And that's kind of the scary thing. In fact, I've just been with a bunch of people teaching them how to the retention referral. Have you heard of retention referral?
No.
That's where you treat them, and you're like, I'm kind of new at this, I'm treating them, they're getting better, and then you go, you're better now, I really think I should see you again, but I don't know quite what to do, so I'm going to say, I'll see you next time when you need me. And you've probably done that already.
Yeah.
Everybody's done it.
Yeah, I did it a lot at the beginning, and I was just talking with a group of chiropractors about how to get around that, and it's quite a difficult topic, actually. I wasn't planning on talking about this, actually.
Yeah, no.
You're fine.
Yeah, so do you find that problem in clinic? Have you found that, or are you getting around that?
A little bit, because you don't want to be like that chiropractor's like, you need to come in 4 times this week for the next 6 weeks, and you don't want them to make it for like you're like using them.
Well, ultimately, you want to be the guy that helps them, not the guy that they solely rely on. You want to make them self-sufficient as a patient and pretty much take their own health into their own hands. And
I've always found that I didn't like do this whole like 72 plan, you've seen this hard sell thing, right?
Yeah.
We talked about it last time. So we're not big fans of the hard sell. It doesn't work anymore. And I've always done the initial treatment to get them to the pain level, and then I wean them off, and then they kind of set their own like agenda. I'm like, I'm going to wean you off. This time you've made it 2 weeks. Let's try 4. And they're like, hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a minute. I want to come again in 2 weeks. And then they kind of set their own little level. I found that works really well. And with a framework, that works quite well.
One thing we've actually run into as well is we do set that, like, we have a patient that comes in every 2 weeks, and she got treated, and then she came back 5 days later. So, like, they still come back and stuff, and
if you're good, they're going to come back.
Well,
they feel a difference.
As long as it's a conversation, I believe, in terms of actually, like, their treatment. It's not like, okay, you have to come 3 times a week for X amount of times because I know things. I'm a doctor. But if they're actually part of the conversation, like, you know what,
you legitimately care.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what we talked about last time as well. It's not I think we're all kind of, we're in the caring chiropractic club, because there is 2 different clubs really, isn't there? I don't know where we're going with this conversation. I don't know why. We're going with that.
It's a new one.
There's the caring chiropractors club, which is like kind of like, I love all my patients. I don't have patients, I have friends. I don't know if you have that. Yeah. And then we've got the money chiropractors club. You know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have money and be friends. I made a lot of money doing chiropractic, but and we're going to get back to why I don't do that anymore. But the caring chiropractic club, I think, is the more sustainable model. I've got a friend who's in the money chiropractic club, and he has to go out and screen everybody every weekend and do all this stuff. It's not fun, is it?
No.
But I don't know why we went that way. We'll cut that bit out. So last time we talked about how you guys kind of drew towards chiropractic because of grief, and how I kind of drew away with grief because my wife passed on, and I kind of drew away, and I've not practiced since. I treat chiropractors, well, I demonstrate on chiropractors, and I go to clinics. But I think it's very interesting the difference that we've had between me and you guys. What do you think drew you back to chiropractic? Because you did have a decision to make, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell the camera what decision you had to make.
Oh, well, I guess. So, we're I don't know. I figured when we first started, it's because it's one of the easier roads, and we always wanted to do it.
Well, it was something we always wanted to do. Like, since 6th grade, since we were in the 6th grade, it's always been at the top of our minds what we wanted to do. But then when our dad passed away, like Tyler said, our plan was to come in and to work with our dad, and that at the time it seemed like a pretty cush deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, Dad has a pretty good
practice that's booming.
Yeah, Dad has a good practice. He has a good name. He's a good person. If we have any questions, he's a great resource. He's a safety net, pretty much. It was like a foolproof program, or just path, pretty much. And so when he passed away, that safety net, granted that option was still there, but that safety net, gone. Yeah. So it turned into more of a gamble.
So we had to really, really think, like, do we still want to do this? And it was always our plan, I guess. I can't say our, but it was always my plan.
It was always, like, definitely my plan as well. But I think what was the deciding factor for us was actually at our dad's funeral. So we had it in an LDS stake center, and for anybody who's familiar with, like, the building setup of that, can hold anywhere between 500 to 600 people, something like that. And he filled the entire thing up, and they had overflow in the rooms. Like, I think there was upwards of 900 to 1100 people there, like 900 to 1100 people there. And just seeing the amount of people that he was actually able to touch with this particular profession was heartwarming and inspiring, really. I think And not one of them says, oh yeah, you know, your dad charged me for money for this, your dad did that, you know, like he didn't have any skeletons in the closet. Like usually when somebody passes away, it's like you hear of affairs, which our dad never did. You hear of all these other scandals and stuff, but when our dad passed away, all we heard of was service, and all we heard of was the good he did in the community. Yeah, how much they loved him, missed him, and how much they cared for him. And that was kind of the mold that was set for us, and something that we wanted to be a part of and have, I guess, have shape our life and just be a part of that, I guess. So that was a huge deciding factor for me. I can't speak for Tyler over here, but yeah, I guess it was a deciding factor for Tyler as well.
No, yeah, I've always just really liked so when I've always liked the profession. When we were growing up, we'd always kind of do stupid stuff. Like we actually at this rodeo, your first chiropractic experience. So we were mutton busting. So mutton busting, they bring out sheep and they get the
mutton being sheep. Like it is what it sounds like.
Busting being riding.
I was actually here for that, and I was actually
it's gnarly.
Vicious.
Oh my goodness, it's worse than the bull riding.
Yeah,
Like these kids are like.
Yeah, they shoot these ones.
This was pre-helmet day.
Pre-helmet.
Oh,
so
it was back in the 90s.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of rodeos going around. There's a little town about an hour and a half away from here called Oakley, Idaho, and my dad actually, he's the chiropractor, and he snuck us in. Like we didn't sign up to the mutton bust or anything. He walked by, saw some kid took it might even have been one of the pro guys, like took their number off and set it on a barrel. So our dad walked up, grabbed it, and pinned it on me. We walked up, he put us in a chute, and then I remember I like blacked out or something, and I rode this sheep around for
broke it.
Yeah, I mutton busted the crap out of that thing. But anyway, I was on that thing for 3 to 5 minutes or something. So I won. I came to this rodeo with like a big head, and the difference between the Oakley rodeo and the Magic Valley Stampede, which is the one we're at right now, is the Oakley rodeo you get a little blue ribbon, which I still have, and here you get these giant trophies that are literally taller.
They're taller than the kids.
Yeah, like the kids win a trophy that's bigger than them. So I was like, I want that more than I care to admit. And I had a big head. I come in here, I'm just going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm just going to grab that sheep and black out. So that for this time I didn't black out. So I'm like, okay, I was on the sheep for about 5 seconds. Rolled off, fell, scorpioned, like if you know what that is, where your feet come up over your head, touch the back of your head, and then the sheep trampled me. Like I said, this is pre-helmet day. And so I remember we were actually sitting up here a couple rows, and I'm just like dazed and confused and maybe slightly concussed. And just huge, massive headache. Couldn't turn my head, couldn't do it. I was just in a world of hurting. And, you know, I was too embarrassed to come down here. I wasn't a cowboy. I was too embarrassed to come and get worked on down here. So anyways, my dad like looked up and just kind of saw I was a little rough, concussed. Little concussed, slightly or whatever.
Sideways.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't there. So anyways, he pretty much came up, got me, brought him down to his little booth down here and worked on me, and he adjusted me. Then he carried me out to the car, and I actually fell asleep in the car and woke up and was completely fine. And that was the first experience I ever really had with chiropractic.
You guys have got to go as well at some point, so we're going to speed it along a little bit. Mm-hmm. The last one was a long, heartfelt bonding experience. And your cousin, was widowed, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and she runs a blog, doesn't she?
Yeah, it's called The Moments We Stand.
The Moments We Stand. And we talked a little bit about that. We weren't going to put a name out there.
Cut that out.
No, we can do the Moments We Stand. And you were talking about how she dealt with grief and how you dealt with grief. And if you don't mind me bringing it up again, you were talking about your mum and how she moved forward with life and found somebody to bring joy again, and how you felt about it. Would you mind sharing that? It's okay if you don't want to.
Oh no, that's totally fine. So our cousin married a gentleman. He was one of our best friends growing up. Whenever they come into town, they went to the college about 2-3 hours away. Whenever they come into town, we'd go hang out and I don't know, we'd go swimming, we'd go caving, we'd just do whatever. And
we cook steaks.
Yeah, we came home our senior year and had a giant buffalo steak ready for us and everything. He just was like our brother. We have an older brother, but he was also our brother, is kind of what it felt like. And we ended up serving missions for our church, and when we were on our missions, I got a phone call, and he probably got a similar phone call, but just saying that he wasn't being faithful and that he'd been cheating on our cousin, that he lost his life due to it. And so he had 5 kids at the time. He had 2 twins, so the oldest ones were twins, they're 6, and the youngest one was 6 weeks old. So yeah, so lost him. So that one kind of had to deal with on my own because I was out by myself. I had a lot of good friends out there that I'd made in the community. But
I should explain to those of you that don't know about the LDS, Church of Latter-day Saint Church. Jesus Christ like big saints. When you go on a mission, you don't come home and you don't get
No.
one phone call, maybe 2 a year. Depending
Yeah,
on the
well, I got
circumstance.
more just because of the funerals, but I was cheating the system.
But, look at that.
No, that was a good one.
And so you're kind of like more isolated there, aren't you?
Yeah, and I was in a small Danish community. Where the branch was located, there's only about 340 people. But yeah, but I was there for about a year of my mission out of the 2. So I really, really got close with them, and so I was really lucky to have them. So they helped me a lot.
And then you were talking about how as well your mother, how she dealt differently with things and how she expected you to act differently.
Oh yeah. So everybody thinks your mom and your dad are like, well, your mom and
They
dad
have their
usually
stuff together.
Yeah, they complement each other. There's always a mom and a dad figure, and they complement each other. They know everything.
We were convinced our parents knew everything.
Oh yeah,
Knew how to.
My son's a cameraman, we do.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he
does
does it. But after our dad passed away, we realized our dad knew about 99% of everything. Not 99. That's an exaggeration.
He complimented our mom in a way. The stuff he didn't know, she did. And since he was gone and she was present, we only saw the stuff she knew.
I just remember the first thing Mom said after our dad died. He passed away. Then our mom's like, "What do we do now? What do we do now?" And she just kept repeating that. And that was kind of I don't know.
I think it was about the third day. She kind of looked around and just says, "You know what, guys? I need you to walk around the yard and see what needs to be done because I honestly don't know what needs to be done." So we had to, we were adults at the time, but at the same time, that was a very sobering experience to just be like, you know what? My mom needs help. Our family needs help. I'm not entirely sure how to step in and fill that role, fill those shoes. But at the same time, you need to do something. We needed to go out. We needed to not only help our mom, but help our siblings, help each other.
And we moved home from the Utah State. We moved home. That's why we went to the local college here. But helped our mom out, and it was our youngest sister's senior year, so we kind of figured might as well try to make her senior year somewhat enjoyable. I mean,
it's hard.
There's not much coming back from that for a senior year, but we figured we'd give it a shot and try to help her. But it was really hard. But then our mom started dating again. It's kind of funny. Our stepdad wouldn't come to the front door because he didn't know what we would do. We didn't know they were dating.
I think he knew our school schedule because he was never there.
I know, but they'd gone on all these dates.
Yeah, like our mom would always tell us about these dates and stuff that they were going on, but like he was never at the house or anything for a little while. Like I think it took about a month before we met him.
Yeah, then he finally came in.
And nicest guy ever.
Yeah, he's
absolutely
love
Dave.
We're going on the bear hunt with him in like 2 weeks.
The convenient thing is his name is Dave too, so we didn't have to learn.
Yeah, our mom apparently part of the checkoff list to get married is your name's got to be Dave.
Check.
Okay. You find that was quite helpful, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes, extremely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, these guys here, they weren't here at our last meeting. We could be a bit more frank about things about them. But yeah, these guys had to get used to that new situation as well, and also had to travel across the country. And
it's kind of a fun trip, huh?
Yeah.
No.
Well, we came on vacation for 2 weeks and to Florida, and that was how many years ago now? 2 years ago. Yeah, we're still here. 2 weeks worth of clothes. We bought some more clothes. It's all right.
Up to 3 weeks now, right?
Yeah, we've got 3 weeks worth of clothes now. I was just thinking though, the way that the chiropractic is so ingrained in life. It's this family thing. Like he grew up in the clinic. He actually walked in on. Sorry, he being the cameraman, my son. He actually walked in on a patient. I lost him once, and I have a multi-room system and 3-room system, which is free on Instantchiro.com. And I lost him. We couldn't find him. And then we heard this talking come from one of the treatment rooms, and he'd gone and decided to converse with this patient who was in a gown for the last 20-30 minutes. The guy thought he was amazing, kept coming for years afterwards. So it is a family thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you grew up with your dad. Tig, my oldest one here, is thinking of becoming a chiropractor.
It's a good profession.
Yeah.
The thing about chiropractic, it's a very, for lack of a better word, it's a very intimate practice. Like there's not a lot of other doctors that use their hands for healing. You get your hands on something and they feel the pain and go away and they feel this relief.
Well, even if you don't believe in energy healing or anything like that, it doesn't matter what camp you fall in for chiropractic. You can feel when somebody's hurting. You can feel inflammation. You can feel pain. You can feel discomfort. And I think feeling it makes it more personal.
Yeah,
especially it's very sobering. I think it especially becomes personal when you realize that they came to you for that, and you are the person for the job at that very moment. intimidating, I guess is the right word for it.
Sometimes.
I used to have a thing on my phone and on my watch, the Apple Watch, and it used to tell me, because I read the research on the DNA. Have you read that? How you can put your hands over it and put a hateful feeling through. This is a real study. This is not like a Bob's Chiropractic page or anything. And how you actually when you want DNA to express, it unravels so you can express and copy and things like that. And if you put a hateful feeling over it, it would tighten up, and so it would not express itself. And then if you put a loving feeling through, it expresses itself. And we think about it in the petri dish form. We're like, okay, well that's better because it replicates. We get replication, and that's what we want. But we forget actually that we're all made of DNA, and so what our feelings are when we go in are what comes through the patient. And I think that's why Light just died. It's been one of those days today. We lost a child like 5 minutes ago. We're literally running around.
Hey, he got a free ride out of it.
Yeah, he went on the rides for free without a ticket. I don't understand what's going on there, but
living the dream.
I think the Light's telling us something. But yeah, and so when we put our hands on people, we're actually affecting their DNA through our intentions. And I think that's one of the reasons why I stopped working when my wife passed on, because that grief period is quite a harsh period, isn't it? And you never get away from it. You never move on. You just move forward, is what I say.
You kind of get a new normal.
Yeah.
I remember when our dad died, a lot of people would come to us for the grieving process, but instead of us grieving, it was them grieving.
They come to comfort you and they leave comforted. It's
a bit weird as well when you have a spouse pass on, because what happens is people fall out with you. I forgot the term now, it's a medical term, but if you look like you're starting to be happy, or you may start dating again, then you may have experienced this with your mum, then some people will be totally angry at it, and it's because apparently it shortens, we've got car alarms now, it makes them realise that person's not coming back, and so it hits them again, because you're grieving, it's okay, it takes the pressure off them. All of a sudden it throws it back on them and it's your fault. And so I had a lot of that as well. I had a lot of that, friends falling out with me because I was dating at some point, and I only dated one person and we got married.
I wish that was my case.
Just kidding.
Yeah, weird.
These guys are available, by the way. So Dr. Long and Dr. Long, let me get this right. Taylor. Oh, so close. I double guessed myself.
You've got a 50-50 chance.
I got Tyler and Tyson.
Oh my goodness.
Taylor's the sister.
Taylor's our sister.
I had Taylor run away earlier. That's why it's on my brain. Taylor ran away. My one. So
Tyler.
Dr. Long and Dr. Long.
Yeah, that works.
Tie. There we go.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me right now? Dr. Long and Dr. Long, talking about grief and chiropractic, starting off from a new clinic. We'll probably talk to you guys again in the future over Skype at some point.
Yeah.
And just, you guys look after yourselves, get a plan in place for when you may have that bump in life. And remember, we love you all above, down, and inside out.
Yeah.
All nurses to the nurses station.
I guess that's the end of the interview. As always, there's a little bit about the making of it afterwards, but I lost a child, so I had to go and deal with that, and they went on a ride or something. But please join us again next week when hopefully I'll be repaired. I'll be repaired, right? What do you mean? Cheer up now. Okay, ready? Things I do for Instant Chiro.